Serious? What secret could ruin your life? When I was about 5 years old, my sister, 2 years old, and I were in the backyard in a kiddie pool. When my mom went inside, I attempted to drown my sister. After I saw her lifeless, I realized that it was a big mistake, pulled her out of the pool and called for my mom. Luckily she knew CPR and she was life-flighted to the hospital. My mom thanked me for saving her, pulling her out of the pool. Next week was my birthday. The police, firefighters, paramedics came to my house to give me gifts and celebrate my birthday. To this day, 20 years later, I still think about it. I remember the day so vividly. Not a soul knows the real truth. This won't ruin me because I've already went no contact with my mom, but it still hurts and is a big secret I've not told anyone. When I was a kid, I had asthma pretty bad. So, I'd be up all night, coughing constantly. My mom and I lived with her parents. We shared a room, so I slept in her bed often when I was a toddler. Mom would come home from work and lay down for bed, but I'd keep her awake with my coughing. Sometimes at night I'd be coughing and she would hug me so tight that I couldn't breathe. It would really distress me that I couldn't breathe, but I knew Mom loved me so much and I didn't want to tell her she was literally squeezing me to death because I was afraid of hurting her feelings, so I'd just tell her that I loved her so much, and she would cry pretty hard after that. Took me years after having my own kid and treating him gently to figure out that it's actually pretty difficult to squeeze a kid so hard that they couldn't breathe. Mom is bipolar, and has had other incidents of hurting people and abandoning those in her care that need medication and can't take care of themselves. So, I finally put it together and figured out, Mom would be so agitated with my asthma that she would try to stop me from coughing by squeezing me almost to death. And then she would cry out of guilt when I told her I loved her. I own accounts on multiple sites dedicated to taking down child pornographers. If anyone knew who I was, I imagine there would be a lot of perverts wanting revenge, and I don't want to put anyone at risk. Since nobody knows who I am on this account, I will say it here. There is an autistic kid at school. He keeps telling me he is going to shoot up the school, constantly asks if I want it. I always get scared and say no. He says he will not shoot me and shoot girls so I can have them. He says he wants to join ISIS and become a terrorist. The thing is that he is either making really dark jokes, or he is just very mentally handicapped. I would feel like garbage if I told on him because I don't want the autistic kid to get in trouble. He might not know what he is talking about, but at the same time if he does something I don't think I would be able to live with myself. Edit. I am going to tell my dean, I promise. I appreciate you all telling me what I should do. Update: I am at school right now. When the day ends and going to go talk to the dean and the principal. Update to May 2nd, 1:58 p.m. I went to the dean's office after school today and she was not there. I assume she went to the school's main office for something, so I just left an anonymous letter. I have no idea where the principal was and had to get on my bus home, so I left. The dean probably will see the note. Update 3 May 3rd. I didn't see the kid in school today. I assume he got suspended, or is in jail. I honestly don't know. I hope he is getting help. Update 4 I don't think he is at school anymore. I haven't seen him and nobody hasn't talked about him. I assume he is expelled or suspended. Not entirely sure. I feel incredibly bad about telling on him though. I get paid a 6-figure salary for a standard 40-hour-a-week corporate job for a massive well-known company. In a given week I do maybe an hour of actual work. The rest of the time I am on Reddit or YouTube slacking off. I thought when I got this job that eventually someone would figure out I don't do anything all day, but here I am 14 years later still doing fuck all and getting paid a lot for it. I killed my family. One night about a decade ago, when I was 8 years old, I couldn't sleep at night, so I was just walking around the house, looking for something to do. It was winter, so there was fire in the fireplace. I started playing with it, throwing stuff into it, watching how it burns. At one point, a big log rolled out of the fireplace. As a kid, I started to panic. I tried to cover it with a blanket, then ran out to the kitchen to get some water. When I came back, the whole living room was on fire. It was a wooden house. I was terrified, ran out of the house. Literally within a minute, it was burning like crazy. My older sister, younger brother, and mom, who was pregnant at the time, all died instantly. Dad was working a night shift. No one really questioned me. My room had window, and I said I left through it when I saw the fire. The real cause has never been found. My dad was absolutely devastated and a few weeks later shot himself. I found his body. I've been living with my grandparents ever since. No one knows what really happened that night. I spent half of my life with therapists. I hate myself, have a severe depression, attempted a suicide a while ago. As a police officer, I rarely if ever arrest people for possession of marijuana. Something that if found out would probably get me ostracized and possibly fired, since I work in a conservative department. Edit, I would to thank those who have thanked me. I really hope when I retire I can help reform not only the laws but the corrections system as well. Believe me when I say there's a lot of us out there who share this ideal. However, it's not widely acceptable behavior. Those who don't embrace the culture are usually looked down upon. Think vegetarian lion. I got into this field over 15 years ago for a reason. As of late I feel I have finally realized what that was. While I can't completely turn this oil tanker of a problem around, I can try and prevent some from being exposed to an unforgivable system. It really comes down to having the discussion with an open mind and realizing some laws don't stand to the test of time. Again, thanks for the support. Throwaway time. When I was really young, 9 to 13, I went on Omegle and dual masturbated with another guy who could have been anywhere from in his late 40s to his early 60s. I am a guy and I am straight. After it was over, I stupidly told him I was not 18. He said I know, smiley face, and nonchalantly skipped me. There is a super high possibility that I have a child. A girl I was with, who turned out to be crazy, lied about being on birth control. The times like up almost too good and it looks kind of like me. Since then she has been married and her husband seem happy together, so I've never worried about it. My stepbrother repeatedly molested and raped me from age 11 to 16. I got pregnant and it was definitely his because I was a virgin otherwise. When I told him, he took me into the woods for a walk, to talk he said, and then shoved me down a very steep, rocky hill that had tree trunks and roots poking out everywhere. He raced to the bottom before I could even consider trying to get up and bashed my stomach with a rock. Then, he left me literally dying at the bottom of a hill where Noon would have walked down, bleeding from a slice across my scalp that required 187 staples to close. My stomach was split open and rib bones broke, and of course the baby didn't survive. There was blood everywhere and I was in and out of reality. I thought I was climbing to heaven when I was delusional but couldn't move when I became remotely conscious. It turns out that when I thought I was climbing to heaven, I was climbing my way up the hill. I made it to a neighbor and he rushed me to the ER. I stayed in ICU for 6 months. When I was able to talk, my brother was in the room constantly. So I lied. I said I was getting chased by a dog and lost my footing and fell, and that as I stumbled up I fell on rocks and trunks of the tree. So that's my story. This account will now probably be deleted. Edit, thanks for the gold. It what to do with it, but I will make good use of the shinies. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.